What's up, guys? This is gonna be my third video of the night, and I'm gonna do. Let me try to describe you, good and bad. Let's see. Let me describe the viewer. Let me describe the viewer. Mm-hmm. Let them come out. Let me describe the viewer, please. Wow. So, guys. All right, let's go. Okay, so I feel like you guys are very. Gender doesn't matter here, you guys. You guys could be very motherly, nurturing, practical, grounding. You could be very in tune with needs and wants, and also you're good at making money. Okay, and also keeping the money coming in. Maybe you guys, oh, maybe you guys have anxiety. Maybe you have vivid dreams. Maybe you have nightmares. Maybe you have some type of mental illness. Maybe despite your strong exterior, you guys struggle inside, maybe with your traumas. I feel like you guys are always given new opportunities when it comes to love or things that will make you feel excited emotionally. So even though you are hurt and pain, maybe even tortured to an extent, I feel like the universe tries to find different ways to show you that it'll be okay, that to keep on going, that you're doing the right thing. You just gotta pay attention to the signs. Maybe you guys do pay attention to the signs. King of Swords. I feel like you guys are also very logical and analytical when you need to be. You could be, yes, you could be emotional, but at the same time, you know when to not be emotional and not be used emotionally. Like, you can give correct guidance, advice. Maybe you could be bosses to an extent where, like, you have to be strict and stern when you need to be. I feel like you guys have been through a lot of betrayals. You've heard a lot. You've been through dumb fights. Maybe people have said things that they couldn't take back. Maybe you yourself have said things you couldn't take back. So, King of Cups. So I feel like you guys also have emotional intelligence as well. Maybe you give advice about emotions, advice to people. Maybe they see you as emotionally intelligent. Maybe you don't even feel that way. But I feel like you could go in and out of being emotional and being logical. Maybe some people can't. We got the King of Cups twice, you guys. So I feel like some people really do see you as a leader when it comes to emotions, to insights, to emotional insights, to what they should do, and love when it comes to like how should they interact or say, what should they do, how should they handle things, how should they go about these beginnings, these endings. Maybe you yourself have been through so many beginnings and endings, so people could kind of look to you for guidance and to certain extents. I feel like you guys don't come off as like know-it-alls, you know? I feel like you guys are pretty real. You don't try to come off as like you're godly and above it all. I feel like you guys are humans. You made mistakes, but at the same time, you know what it's like to be a good person. Knight of Swords in reverse. I feel like sometimes, yeah, you guys could like be a little bit harsh with your words, maybe not thinking before speaking. Maybe you can hold yourself back a lot too when it comes to communications. I feel like people might see you as sneaky sometimes, but I feel like you guys just handle things in a different way, so they don't really understand what you're doing, so they're gonna automatically think that's sneaky. But maybe you yourself have dealt with a lot of sneaky people too, a lot of betrayals. I feel like you guys are always on the move. You could either be moving constantly, driving fast, or you could just be always heading towards a new goal, doing new things. Maybe you guys sleep a lot, you rest a lot, you meditate a lot, you think a lot. Maybe you've gone through heartbreak after heartbreak, and so like people always see you resting. I feel like you guys are always healing, trying to heal, contemplating, reminiscing, building your strength constantly. Maybe you're constantly being reborn over and over again, yearly, monthly. The High Priestess in reverse. Maybe some people have seen you. No, maybe sometimes you feel like you're out of touch with your own intuition, but I feel like you had to really decipher other energies. I feel like I'm being heard right now. Anyways, I feel like you guys had to decipher other people's energies from your own and block out other people's noises and really get in tune with your own intuition to really understand. Maybe you guys need to stop listening to so much tarot readers and listen to your own intuition. Maybe you need to test out your own abilities so you can get more tapped in, or maybe that's what you did before. But I feel like also maybe you were surrounded by a lot of other intuitive people who were not really using their abilities for the right way. Maybe they were more bitchy, evil, narcissistic, using their emotions to try to control others, saying they had this ability, that ability, but they were just crazy motherfuckers. Anyways, I feel like you guys went through a lot of abrupt changes in your life. A lot of, maybe you guys were very, you love studying, you love understanding and finding out information. Maybe you've dealt with a lot of stalkers. Maybe people could have thought you were a stalker. Maybe you were very like defensive. Maybe you were always defensive, ready to guard yourself. Maybe you had to be defensive since you were younger, because I feel like a lot of people were projecting onto you, especially with the High Priestess in reverse. A lot of people were projecting weird ass shit onto you, trying to say you were this and that, or you were doing this and that, but the whole time you were just, I don't know. But yeah, so you were constantly defensive. Maybe you were defensive too. Like, maybe someone would be like, wow, you're really pretty. And then you'd be like, what, bitch? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys are like that. But yeah, maybe you were just too traumatized. So you really couldn't handle niceness from other people. Maybe some of you guys learned to. Especially with the Nine of Wands. Just constantly on guard, protecting yourself, protecting what you were building against the rats, the snakes. What else? Okay. I feel like you guys are very independent. You had very fiery energy. You were doing things other people didn't do, or you learned to become that way. But something about you was just very independent, and you had your own energy. You had your own, you always knew who you were or how you were, despite who you were around, who you were with. Maybe sometimes you were too closed off, or you hid yourself a lot. We had the Ace of Cups again in reverse. Maybe people took things away from you too emotionally. Maybe people try to play with your heart. But I feel like you guys always had a dream of emotional fulfillment, or something emotional was holding you or keeping you afloat. So whether it was like family, romance, whatever. So despite being independent, you've always craved love, wanted love. I feel like you guys might have been stuck in your head a lot, but that's where your intuition came to help you. I feel like you guys always had choices to make, or you were always presented with a lot of choices. King of Pentacles. I feel like you guys are very, and Judgment. You guys were always very about your goals and money. Maybe you struggled for a while, or maybe you've always wanted something, a partner to help you. Yeah, you don't want to rely on them, but you've always wanted somebody to help you in this life. And maybe people thought you were judgmental, but I feel like you had a very good intuition where it would like spot somebody, right? And you'd be like, something's off about this person, or something about this person. I don't know.